What is a peony?
A peony is a flower from China originally, and there are maybe 5 different shapes. They come from cooler climates that have a winter, East Coast, Oregon, New Zealand, Holland, and they have specific seasons, and they come in a range of colors: coral, ivory, red, and then a whole gamut of fuchsia, purple, pink. Roses are interesting because there's basically 4 types of commercially grown roses. There's one that's like a local California grown rose that's been grown here for the last couple hundred years. It's commercial, it's a long stem, small head. There's also the Dutch rose, which are beautiful hybrid roses that are long, small heads, similar to the Californian, but they usually have more petals and they're a little bit more outstanding and more refined. There are Ecuadorian roses, which have a huge head and lots of petals, and they have a strong growing season, so they can make a larger head. And then the most beautiful ones, in my opinion, are the garden roses that are also now commercially grown, but they are more unique and they have more variety, and they're supposed to look as though you pluck them from your yard. A dahlia is a round, daisy-shaped flower that's similar to a mum, but more garden, soft, refined. There's a million different varieties that aren't commercially grown that should be. They're grown locally in California. We have the most amazing dahlia collection here. Then there's also a big dahlia society in England. So there's really beautiful old world dahlias that, would be amazing if they were grown here. Then we'd have like flowers you've never seen. So exciting. An orchid is a huge variety of things. It's the most diverse family of flowers. There's probably 250 ones that we know about. I'm sure there's orchids we haven't ever have been introduced to or found yet. The most common orchids are cymbidiums, odontoglossums, and phalaenopsis, and they're cut commonly because they have a great lifespan cut. A hyacinth is a bulb flower that's grown primarily in spring, but their season is expanding because of places they can grow them now. So I think it's almost always available. It's a little short flower, about 7 to 10 inches tall. It has tons of florets that over its blooming cycle explode. So it's really cool. It's very fragrant, and if you buy it young, which is a good idea, and tight, then it will last you 2 weeks. Amaryllis are a really cool flower because they are a bulb and they're related to hyacinth, but they are also related to lilies. So they have a lily shape, but they're way more big and explosive in my opinion. I love them. They're also grown in Holland primarily, but they're being grown other places now so that the season is expanded, and they come in a huge range of varieties and styles too. Anthurium are tropical flowers from Hawaii. They're grown in Hawaii and Thailand. Now they're growing them in Canada, which is interesting. They grow them in greenhouses in Canada, which seems absurd, but it's just they figured out a way to do it, and they're actually really great quality. And they come in a million colors, and they're waxy, and they have a stamen. It's 1 petal, 1 stamen. Hydrangea is a puffy English flower. They come in green and white and pink and purple. And the cool thing about hydrangeas is that the color isn't a product of breeding. It is a product of the acidity in the soil. So if you look at a pH paper, it has this range from pink to purple or blue, and the pH of the soil determines the color of the flower. It's very cool. Tulips are cool because they used to be traded as a commodity in Holland for centuries, and now there's a big flower market there, and they have auctions, the tulips in there, and it's just a huge industry in Holland, and people love them here. They don't last very long, but they're super special. They have this sweet thing where they grow to the light, and they move, and they change form. Sometimes they'll change color. Very, very nice. I'm crying about tulips. A daisy, people don't really know classical daisies anymore because they think they are mums, but they're not. There's Shasta daisies and Marguerite daisies, and they're more of a flower that you'd find in somebody's garden rather than the flower market. A lily can be a lot of things. A lily, the most common lilies are Asiatic lilies or Oriental lilies, and they come in a million colors, like mauve, pink, yellow, orange, white. But the most classic lily is the Casablanca, which is a large, five-headed white flower that's super fragrant that you would see on a piano in a fancy house. A carnation is a pretty structured thing. It's usually just one flower on a stalk with tons of petals, and they're usually a little frayed, and they come in white, pink, yellow, orange, green, purple, lots of colors, and they're grown locally and in South America too. People are offended by carnations. They have a bad name for themselves because they're so cheap and long-lasting. People think they're not special. But carnations are key in current floral design because you can use them to create shapes. So people use them to make balls, boxes, cubes, like triangles, topiary animals, whatever you want to think of. Carnations are a good flower for that because they don't require water like for days. Chrysanthemum is like your grandma's flower. It's like something you'd see in her garden. It's usually lavender, amber, yellow, or white, and it's maybe a 3-foot tall flower, and people often think that they're daisies, but they're not. They're mums. A gladiola is a pretty structured thing. It's from the lily family. It's a bulb. You grow them in late summer, but you can get them anytime at the flower market, and they come in a huge range of colors, but they also are they're also considered a lower end flower because they're long lasting and they're cheap. An iris is a bulb just like tulips and amaryllis. It is usually purple or white, and the most special iris are bearded iris, and they come from Holland, and they come in a huge variety of colors and styles, and they're so fun. In May, you can only get them in May. An azalea is a garden flower that is usually sold in the plant form at florists. On the East Coast, you can get cut azaleas, but you can't get them here. They don't last very long. They're not strong. Pansies are super sweet, but they are also something that you grow in your garden, and you might be able to purchase at a florist, but it's not common because they don't have a long shelf life. A poppy, there's a huge range of poppies. Locally, we have the California poppy, which is not sold commercially because it is illegal to pick them. There are also Oriental poppies. The most common florist variety is the Icelandic poppy, which has a longer shelf life, but it is pretty rare to find them. They have certain seasons, and they're grown locally at your local farm. A daffodil is one of the old Dutch bulbs. They're mostly grown in Holland, the good ones. It is pretty diverse. There's about, I don't know, probably 50 varieties that are commercially sold. And it is a spring thing, so you'll get them from, spring actually starts in December, so you can get them through December into February. It's the end. A violet is a small lavender flower that is usually just grown in gardens, like in a shady spot. It is commercially sold, but it is sort of out of style. You know, they're just so tiny, they don't last long. It's just for an event. You might get violets for your wedding. It's sweet. They're very sweet. They're kind of pansy.